review this game. So e4, e5. The game starts with Italian opening. Black plays c5, bishop c5. That is one of the book move. And b4. Okay, so we push the pawn to b4. And this is called like bird's attack. I would say the most common move in the previous position like this is push the pawn to d4 or d3. Basically, we need to push the center pawn and open up the dark square bishop. Pushing the pawn to d4, we can also control the center, and if you pawn to d3, we can support e4. So we can make the position close a bit for now, and later on after castle, bishop e3, knight d2, we can decide should we attack on the queen side or should we attack on the king side. So I will say right now our pieces are not fully developed, so pushing the pawn very early, we are not 100% ready. So black could push the pawn a5 afterwards. Not right now. Of course, black should move the bishop back, and later black can fight back at the queen side. So b4 is not very common, but let's see how did the game go. Bishop to b6 and d3. Yeah, we want to defend e4. So black play d6, and also I think black can castle, and once the king move to a safe place, black can push the pawn to d5 immediately without moving to d6 and d5. So black can save one move basically. So d6, a4, we want to trap the bishop, but yeah, I mean the purpose is very clear and our opponent knows that. So played a5, and we close the queen side. Yeah, it's now a bit turned to become a little bit tricky to open up any files at the queen side, because these two pawns are basically placed and closed. The c file, if we push the pawn to c4 and c5, this is dark square. Black has a very good control in the c5. I don't think it's easy to push the pawn to c5. So potentially d4 is still something we can do. And we castle, knight to g6, h3. We want to defend g4. I think that's good. And castle. So bishop e3. We want to trade the dark square bishop. Black didn't do that. That's interesting. I think black should take the bishop. Otherwise, there will be double pawns, and we should definitely take that. We didn't take that. I think we should take that, because after taking trading the bishop, black have two weakness. These two pawns are cannot support each other, and once our knight as c4, we can attack b3, b6 and d6. So I would definitely take the dark square bishop. And so okay, so now black take our bishop. Oh, take that bishop pawn. Yeah, that's a bit unexpected. So because we move the rook to e1, which means our rook want to control or stay at e file. So I should take that with the bishop with the rook, and our rook can stay at the e file. If we take the pawn, after the trade, we actually open the f file. So eventually we'll move rook back to f1. And there are two white pawns in front of us, in front of the rook. So the rook is quite stuck by our own pawns. So this is not something I would go for. Bishop e6, take, d4. And black doesn't take the pawn, that's good. If black takes the pawn, we can take that with e pawn. And then our rook e1 makes more sense because we support e4. But I think black plays wisely, not trading the pawn, keep the e file closed. And knight to c4, we want to add some pressure on e5. Knight to g5, black is going to trade the knight. I think that's a really, really good piece movement, because the f3 knight is controlling these two dark square. If black trade the knights, black queen can go to the king side and attack our king, and later on when this knight is moved away, the rook can go to g6. Probably black can attack our king side, and also our f3 knight have posing a lot pressure on e file on the center. So I think trading the knight is really smart strategy. And we want to trade the queen. I think the downside of this trade is if black take the queen, we will have double isolated pawn. So our pawn structure is a little bit problematic in the end game. If we don't trade the queen, I will move this rook to a2 and later on move it to f2. I still think the f file is something we can utilize. This is the only semi-open file we can attack black pieces. Okay, trading the queens, the game turning into endgame b6. I think that's good because if we got the chance to play b6, we will break the pawn structure on the queen side and potentially we can open up the b file. And if black take our pawn, we can move the knight to b6. This b7, the d6 become backward pawn. They're bad, they're weakness. And if black doesn't take our pawn, our knight can target at a5, which keep the rook at a8 potentially forever. So black play b6. This is a really good defensive move. Knight to d2. c4. Yeah, as I said, the g4 pawn is isolated pawn and it become a weakness. I think the knight f8, we need to understand the purpose of this move. So it's quite clear that black want to attack our g4, and I think the only way to protect the pawn is move the king to protect that. After trading, I don't think trading is a good option because after trade, these two pawns will stuck at e5 forever. This is like doubled isolated pawn. And thinking about c4, we don't have d3 protecting that, so this pawn will also be a weakness. So yeah, I think we will lose the g4 pawn, but the question is, can we for example open file as a c file and being active in some way to attack on the queen side? So yeah, I was thinking about maybe move the rook to c1 and open up the c file. Knight f3, take the pawn. Yeah, see, so because of the trade, so yeah, so the e4 pawn and also c4 become weakness. I don't think knight f3 really works because you see, if the knight takes the e5, the rook takes e4, so the c4 pawn is a problem, and also when our knight move away, we'll lose c4. So this pawn become really weakness. And we estimate the position. We move the knight back, but the rook to da. We open the d file basically for our opponent. Our opponent can utilize this open file to attack our pieces, and now we are being really passive. And I see 5. Yeah, we can learn how good our opponent is at coordinating pieces and attack our weakness. Yeah, take this pawn. Yeah, that's really good. I think it's very hard to fight back at this position. Trading pieces, trading knights, and we don't trade the knight because if we trade the knights, the c4 pawn become problem. But the problem is the e4 knight is way better than our knight. So yeah, I mean, either trading the knight or not, we don't have very good position. So we lose the pawn eventually, and I probably will lose another pawn. And now black has doubled past pawns, and yeah, black has 4 more pawns than us. I think we are losing. Yeah, I don't think I need to move further on. I think the very important part is we need to think about the position and also weakness. First of all, when we take the e3 pawn, I'm very impressed of this X trade. exchange. So because we move the rook to e1 and we take the bishop, I don't think that makes much sense to take that with the pawn. This two pawn blocking our rook. And after the trading, there's only semi-open file. And we should take the b6 bishop earlier. So we will create two weakness on the board. And later on, this is okay. So queen g4, yeah. So I think the good thing is we are aware that the black queen is a potential threat. So we want to trade the queen. I think that's fine. But the problem is after the trade, we need to be aware, also be very mindful about the weakness after the trade, the two pawns. Okay. And after knight fa, we need to think about what is the purpose of this move. And if we realize the knight is to like giving some space for the rook, I think we should think about how can we protect the pawn. And the question is very straightforward, moving the king upward. But we didn't think about that, or we missed that. So rook g6. Yeah, after losing the pawn and also after the trade, I think we are a bit anxious at this position because a lot of pawns, these pawns are all weakness, and black capture each one step by step with a very clear plan and with very good piece coordination. Like the two rooks, this rook targeting at the defender of the pawn, and also this is a rook controlling the only open file, and the rook target this pawn and this pawn, and the knight move to e6 to c5 to attack basically all the weakness. Black has a very clear plan to target that. Yes, that is it.